Hey everyone, Pat, that Halloween movie collector. I'm back with another one of my top 10 albums from the 80s. And this time around, we're doing 1984. And I'm doing it with my good buddy, Bill from the Everscathed. So we're gonna talk about our top 10 albums from 1984, our favorite albums, and we'll also have some honorable mentions. Both of us put a list together, and they'll play shortly. But I don't why. So when you mentioned 1984, what was so special about 84? Because you said that was a year that stuck out with you that you like to do.
Yeah, just there's a couple musical moments, like the earliest moments I can remember connecting with music were pretty much in '84. Actually, several moments because I believe that might be when we also got our first VCR. It was right around then when I started recording like Friday night videos and stuff. That might have been '83. It's '83, '84. But the main two things were I discovered Van Halen in 1984 with the album 1984 Jump
Mm-hmm.
was, and then Twisted Sister. I discovered Rebellion in the year 1984, that music can make you feel a certain way, and some people don't like what you're listening to. Up to that point, music was music. My mom put on music in the car, whatever. You went somewhere, the parties, people had music on, but this was the first time where it sounded like music was for me, and all of a sudden other people didn't like what I don't. You don't, you don't want to listen to that. It's the first time I faced, someone against what I liked. So it was like, wow, my first taste of rebellion. Like, no, I like this. We're not going to take it. You know.
Well, that's it. 84 was like the year of Twisted Sister. It's like we're not going to take it, and I
Oh,
want to
man.
rock.
Oh
Yeah.
yes. Oh
I
yes.
mean,
Still popular
MTV
to this
wore
day.
those videos out.
Yep. With the what's his name? Metcalf. Played
Mark
the dad.
Metcalf,
Yes.
a
Yes.
Twisted Sister pin on your uniform.
Yes. What are you gonna do with your life?
What is that? I love that. I'm a big Animal House fan, so I loved it. I'm like, it's freaking Niedermeyer. It's awesome. And he was doing the
Mhm.
whole Niedermeyer shtick. It was awesome. Before he was
I heard
Maestro
that's how that
on
happened.
Seinfeld.
Yeah. Yep. 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 The
Call
maestro.
me
Yep.
call me
Sure.
Maestro.
He
Oh,
didn't
good
want to call
stuff.
him maestro.
Yeah, every time they call, what was his name? I can't. What the hell was his name? I'm drunk because I'm so used to them calling him Maestro. I don't remember what his name was. I forget.
Yeah.
And they call him the name,
Well,
and he go, "Yeah, I'd really
yeah.
rather you call me Maestro," because he get all agitated. Oh,
Yeah.
love it. And of course,
Yeah.
obviously, the worst.
I guess that's why they got him for the videos. Is D. Snyder said, "I want the guy like Niedermeyer from
I want
the
Niedermeyer.
Animal House. I want him." And they're like, "All right, well, they were the biggest band in the world at the time. Let's get him." They got
Put Niedermeyer on it. He's a sneaky little shit, just like you. Oh, Animal House, one of my
him.
favorite movies. Could talk that all night long. But yeah, let's do this. Well, since you're the guest, so we'll start with number 10. What's your number 10?
My number 10 is This Is Spinal Tap, the soundtrack. I mean, what can I say? One of my favorite movies. It mixes heavy metal and comedy. The songs are fantastic. I mean, I'll read them off, and you'll be singing them in your head immediately. Hellhole, Tonight I'm Gonna Rock You Tonight, Heavy Duty, rockin'. It's a rock and roll creation. Every song you
I didn't
know
even
them
think
and
to
they
put on
you
it
sing
until
along.
when you mentioned it. I was like, shit, I should have put that on here. I can't believe I didn't. But I guess I wasn't thinking soundtracks. That's why.
Yeah, and it
This
was.
is
I
technically
almost didn't
technically a
put it on
soundtrack.
because it's the
Technically,
soundtrack.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's exactly. I almost didn't put it on because it's a soundtrack, but it is an album. The guys wrote it,
you're
they
right.
performed it. It's a band, so that's why I decided to include it. So yeah, definitely my number 10. This is Spinal Tap. Big bottom, talking about bum cakes. My girls got them. Every song is
Oh, it's good
awesome.
shit.
Yes,
Can't wait for the
Stonehenge.
new movie. The new movie. Can't wait for the new
Yep,
movie.
I know, I know. I really can't wait. Hopefully, it's still all on track.
I hope so. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping they tour.
Yeah, I know. Oh, that would be great. That'd be so cool. Cause I missed them when they did the Break Like the Wind
Break
thing
like the
back in the
wind.
early
Yeah,
90s. Yeah,
I missed it too. I was all set to
yeah,
go, and then something came up. And I can't remember what it was, and I wasn't able to go. I was like pissed. Like, damn, Spinal Tap. When they're going to come back around? And that was ages ago.
yeah. Even if they just did like select dates, like just did like Metallica kind of does like the big cities. Hey, come to Chicago. You live near a big city. I'm in a big city. Come on, at least do that. I want to see him live. That'd be so cool. That's
Good
my number
stuff.
10. This is my
One of my favorite movies. So and like I said, I didn't even think. So I blame myself. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with me? So
10.
my number 10, released on March 27th of '84, Rat Out of the Cellar. Big
Nice,
Rat
nice.
fan. Love me some Warren D. Martini. I mean, Round and Round. That song was freaking huge, especially on
Mhm.
MTV too. And I saw Rat. I only saw them once, and I saw them had to be, I want to say, the late '90s. I saw them, and they were fucking good live. I'll tell you that, man.
Mhm.
They sounded great, and I know they don't really have an incarnation. Actually, I just saw something recently about them maybe torn because Warren D. Martini didn't want to do nothing to do with the band anymore. But I heard he was coming back with Stephen Piercy.
Yeah,
I just read that somewhere
Stephen
recently.
Pierce. Yeah, Stephen
Some
Piercy's been doing it. Stephen Piercy's Rat. He's been going around touring
right.
for a while now. And just the other day, like last week, they announced he's reuniting with Warren DeMartini, and they're doing, I think a festival, and then that led to some dates after that. So,
That I would go see because I did see them. I did see them together, but that was it. Like I said, it was in the '90s. So I would get off my ass to go see it because I love rap. I mean, this album, Round and Round, was huge. Wanted Man,
hmm
Back for More. I mean, right there,
yeah, a
those
great
songs are
song. Yeah,
huge. People don't realize how big Rat was back in the day.
you're
Yeah,
back for more. Great song.
yeah. I mean, I wore
Yeah,
the
that's I
hell
watched
out of
those
that.
Jason Green. That Jason Green dude, he's their tour manager. So I've been watching his shows and his tour vlogs, and he films a lot of stuff from the live Rat concerts with Stephen Piercy. And every show they open with "Wanted Man," dun,
Do
dun,
they?
dun, dun, and then he comes out from the back, right in time to start singing and stuff. Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, good stuff. So that's my number 10. Rat Out of the Cellar. All right, cool. What's your number 9?
All right, so my number 9 is Queensryche, "The Warning." Warning,
Nice.
warning, warning. Love that record, man. So many good songs on that. And Force, Deliverance, Right from Wrong. So good. I mean, that's like their debut record, basically, because they had that 4-song EP, which is amazing, with Queen of the Reich and everything. But, I mean, No Sanctuary, NM 156, Take Hold of the Flame, Take Hold. So many good songs on this record. Yeah, it's my number 9. Road to Madness, last song, epic. Yeah, great album, great day, full length debut from Queensryche.
Yeah, good stuff. I love. Oh, God, Queen. Well, are they still doing the two versions of it now? I know there was two touring
I
versions.
think I could be wrong, but I thought I saw something recently that said Jeff Tate's doing it like one last time. He's going out by himself one more big tour or something like that before hanging it up.
Oh, bless those
I could
guys.
be
I mean,
wrong.
come on.
Maybe I just dreamt that, but I thought I saw something recently. There's a lot of bands doing that. Like look at Ozzy just announced Black
I
Sabbath.
just that
One
I'd
last
love to be a
show.
fly in the wall for that show. That show looks
Yeah,
awesome. Holy shit! I'm like, come
yeah.
on, come over here and do that.
So many bands, everybody, Metallica, Mastodon, there's Anthrax, so many good bands on that bill.
Yeah, that's gonna be one hell of a send off with the original band. I
Yeah,
mean, even Bill Ward, they even got Bill Ward back and everything. Oh,
Yeah, all
I'd love
four
to
of
be
them,
there
one
for
last
that.
time.
That's it. One go
Yeah.
around. Cool. All right. What do I tap for me? My number nine, like I've said on when I was doing my 70s and even the earlier 80s, that if a Kiss album is out, odds are it makes it on this list. And I said odds are that the more we go into the middle part of the 80s, the more they're going to go from like the lower numbers to the higher numbers. Because I don't dislike them, but they're just
Yeah.
not top of my. They're not the cream of the crop for me. But so my number nine is Kiss Animalize, released on September 12th of '84, and it's got Heaven's on Fire. Lonely's a Hunter. It's got some good stuff on it, but it's like I always liked it, but it was very cheesy. It's like maybe
Oh
it's
yeah.
so it's like they had the guitar player Mark St. John. It was the only album he was on before he got writer syndrome and he couldn't play anymore, and they replaced him right away. I mean, shout out to him. I mean, rest in peace because he died young. He's long gone now. But it's probably an album that Jesus, I don't even know how often I reach for it. But I had to put it on this list. I had to put it on my top 10 because I'm a Kiss fan. And I did listen to it a lot in the 80s. But it's one of the ones that hasn't aged well for me. But I was like, you know what? I listened to it a lot. It should make it in the top 10. So put it at number nine. There's I mean, what else is on there? There's Thrills in the Night, which is another video. Burn Bitch Burn, because Gene used to have some weird songs in the 80s. Really did. Spit, Burn Bitch Burn. I mean, come on. Weird stuff. I've had enough Into the Fire. It's okay. It's like I said, the middle from like the 84 to like maybe Creatures of the Night. Not Creatures of the Night, rather Crazy Nights album. It's very I gotta be in the mood.
I
I got to be in the mood to
hear
really
you.
like it. And they'll probably all be in my top 10, but they're definitely not going to be number one. But yeah, that's my number nine. Kiss, Animalize.
Cool.
What
Definitely.
do you got? What do you got at number eight?
All right, so my number 8 would be talking about Black Sabbath. Mr. Ronnie James Dio released an album called "The Last in Line." That is my number 8. So many great tracks on that record, man. It kicks off. We rock. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
such a great intro song. No matter what, it's just like you could put that on at a party to kick things off. So great. But then you also got stuff like "I Speed at Night." Great song. One of his quicker ones. Love that tune. I mean, Last in Line, of course. Mystery, they had the video for that. So yeah, Last in Line, great record. Love that album.
Me too. I was a big Dio fan, still am. Love Dio. I mean, it's a shame he's gone. Uh, it was a travesty that they didn't put him in the Rock Hall of Fame with Sabbath, but we all know why that happened. That was Sharon's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, great album. Love it. Cool.
And
My
you
number.
and if you do this ever, you should be paying tribute to Dio because that's where that all came from.
It all started with him. He was the one who did it. No argument
Yep.
there. All right, my number eight, released on July 27th of '84. Metallica, Ride the Lightning.
Excellent.
It had to be on this
Excellent
list.
record.
Like I said in the last video, I'm a Metallica fan, but I didn't really start really getting into him until I was out of school because everybody liked him at the time, but I was listening to other stuff. I was actually still to this day a much bigger Megadeth fan, but I mean, Ride the Lightning, you got From Whom the Bell Tolls, Fade to Black, Creeping Death, Fight Fire with Fire. I mean, there's amazing song after amazing song. You can't deny this album. Um, and just to see them do this live, I mean, you go see them live, they do. I mean, I'll give them credit. They have a pretty extensive catalog, but they really did. They do like towards the latter part of the concert, they start going deep into the old shit, which is,
Mhm.
I mean, that's what they did last time I saw them. It was awesome. It was like a
Yes,
second concert. Like they did all the hits, and then like they came back out and just did all the old stuff, and it was awesome.
that's awesome. That's great. That's but the first 4 Metallica records are, I mean, some of my favorite records ever made. That's what got me doing what I do. Like that's what got me playing guitar. It was that era when and Justice for All, right? When that was just hitting, and yeah, that's what got me into guitar. And then you start digging back in their catalog, and yep, Ride the Lightning, man, great. That's my favorite Metallica album. Would be Ride the Lightning.
Awesome, good stuff. All right, so what do you got for your number seven?
All right, for my number 7, we got to go with Mr. King Diamond and Merciful Fate. Don't Break the Oath. Amazing record. Not a bad song on there. I mean, every song is so memorable. Dangerous Meeting, Nightmare, a desecration of souls in the holy. I'm not even going to try and hit those
I was going to
highs.
say, if you can get that high, God bless you.
Night of the Unborn, The Oath, Gypsy. Well, earlier tonight, you ever seen that video for Gypsy where it's He-Man singing the song? They got him singing the song Gypsy from Merciful Fate, and he's
I don't
dancing
think
and
so.
shimmying. It's got Skeletor and stuff. Oh, if you do yourself a favor, look up Gypsy, He-Man, Merciful Fate. That is hilarious. That is so funny. It's a
I would
cartoon.
love to see him live. I've never seen him live.
Yeah, I saw one time. I got to see Merciful Fate once up in Milwaukee at the Milwaukee Metal Fest back in, I believe it was 1998. And it was fantastic. It was so good, man. Because the big headliners that night were Destruction was making their return and Merciful Fate. And Destruction was terrible. Everyone was so let down by Destruction. And Merciful Fate just turned that all around. They were amazing. He even had the goat skull in his hand. It lit on fire while he was singing and stuff. So cool. Yeah.
Cool stuff. Like, love it. Awesome. All right. So what do we got here for my number 7? My number 7, released on the 23rd of July of '84. Iron Maiden Power Slave. Love this album. This was the first tour I think I saw them was Power Slave.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
Power Slave was the first tour if I remember correctly. I mean, 2 Minutes to Midnight, Aces High, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, Flash of the Blade. I mean, this album just reads like a hit after hit. Especially if you're a Maiden fan, or even the MTV days, they had 2 Minutes to Midnight and they had Aces High videos, which were awesome. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember my friend around this time. You figure '84 was it '84? I guess a little bit after that is when I started to pick up the guitar, and my friend who lived right across the street from me, who was my roommate in college, picked up the bass, and I remember him and I just trying to sit there and learn Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner because it had the whole bass intro, and I had to start
Mm-hmm.
learning how to play the guitar, and it was rough, but eventually we got it. But such a great
Nice.
album, great. I mean, I do remember the stage show was awesome because they had the big Sphinx and everything on the stage and everything. It was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree, man. That's my favorite Maiden album. You got my favorite Metallica album in '84, and you got my favorite Maiden album in '84. Yes, I agree. Yeah, it's not a bad. They don't even. The only chance they give you to breathe on that record is the instrumental "Lost for Words," and
Lost for
even
words.
that is
Yeah.
even that's not a
It's still
breather.
good.
That's in your face, and that's a great tune too.
Yeah. Yeah. Good
Yeah,
stuff. I
great.
loved it. Good album. What do we got here? What do you got for number 6?
All right, my number 6, like I mentioned before, Twisted Sister, "Stay Hungry." Phenomenal record. Again, not a bad song on that album. You got the opening track, "Stay Hungry," right in your face. Stay hungry. Right down your throat, right off the bat. We're Not Gonna Take It. "Burn in Hell," performed in Pee Wee's Big Adventure a year later. When they're
Yeah.
on the hood of the car, remember? You're gonna burn
Yeah.
in hell. Always wanted to cover that tune, a death metal version of it, but it's like I don't want to ruin the song. But it could work. Um, and then the horror Terria at the beginning, where it's the two songs like linked, Captain Howdy and Street Justice. That's totally when D. Snyder made that movie Strangeland. That's what that
Strangeland.
movie was. Yeah, he turned those two songs into a movie. I
Yeah.
thought the movie was good. I saw it in the theater and I enjoyed it.
I
It
love
was
that
different.
movie.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in years. I've been really wanting to rewatch it, but it's hard to come by these days. I didn't look to see. Maybe it's on YouTube, but yeah. And then "I Want to Rock," epic classic, anthem song. "The Price," a great ballad, such
Another
a
great
great
song.
song. "The Price." "Don't Let Me Down," the beast. It's the nature of the beast. And then SMF, which was like their calling card. That was what they call all their fans, the sick
That's their
mother
fans,
effers.
sick motherfuckers. Yep.
Yep. Yep. So great album from front to back. Not a bad song. Phenomenal record. That's like I said. That's the when I first heard "We're Not Gonna Take It." I was oh man, I love that song. And that was the first time like I had people telling me, "Oh, you don't want to listen to that." Mostly just because the way he looked, D. Snyder dressing like a woman the way he did to piss people off. That was the first time I ever had people telling me, "You don't want to listen to that. Why would you want to listen to that guy?" I don't know. It's a great song. I don't
Well,
even,
back
I
around that
don't know.
time
He's a
too.
rock and roll guy.
That was
Yeah.
back in the PMRC days with fucking Tipper Gore, that pain in the ass when they was wanted to put all the
Oh
slap the
man,
labels. And he went in front of Congress. Him, Frank Zappa, they all petitioned Congress.
intelligent as hell, man. Just laid it down, just destroyed her. Yeah, that was great. Yeah. If anyone out there hadn't seen that, look it up on YouTube. You can find it on PMRC hearings when D. Snyder just tore Tipper Gore a new one, and the
Yeah,
rest of them. So yeah, that's my number six. Twisted Sister. Stay
good
hungry.
job. All right, so my number six, you already mentioned it. Released on July 2nd of '84, Dio, Last in Line. I still am a big Dio fan, but especially in the '80s, I was a diehard Dio fan, and I just
Yeah.
wore the shit out of this album, uh, big time. Because when I first got Holy Diver, I loved Holy Diver, and I couldn't wait. And then when he came out with Last in Line, like I said, it just kicks you right in the face with We Rock It. Right starts, I Speed at Night, Mystery, Last in Line, everything on here is just classic Dio and just some great shit, great stuff. Vivian Campbell, I mean, great guitar player. I mean,
Yeah.
he still is. I mean, although he just he just plays a different style with Def Leppard. But man, what a ripping guitar player! And I think I mentioned it. Did I mention the other video I did with when I talked about Dio? If you ever look up a band called the River Dogs, it was Vivian Campbell's band after he left Dio, before he got into Def Leppard, and they only did, I forget if they did two albums. I got to look through my CDs, but the first album is amazing, and it's long out of print. You have to search to find it. You probably have to go on. You can probably find it on YouTube these days. I remember years ago you couldn't even find it anywhere. But the band called River Dogs, great stuff. Love it, love it.
Nice.
But yeah, that's my number six, Dio, Last in Line.
Great record.
All
All
right, what do
right.
you got
Well,
for your
my
number
number
five?
five. Yeah, my number five going right from, like I said, the two important songs for me in '84 were, We're Not Gonna Take It, and my other big one was Jump. So, my number five is Van Halen, 1984. I remember, that was like, I remember being a kid, and like you said, you hear the music that your parents play, whatever. I was kind of like, I didn't really have an identity of my own as far as music goes. I remember Jump coming out and going, that's my song. Like, wow. Like, anytime it came on, I would just get excited. I loved that fucking song. I remember jumping off we used to live at my grandma's house briefly in the city, and I remember jumping off her porch to that song. Was jump, just jumping like if I even thought about that now, my knees would shatter. But that's probably why my knees would shatter now from doing shit like that when I was a
That's why
kid.
we're sore.
But yeah, that same house, linking both albums. I remember jumping off the porch to jump, and then hearing the song "We're Not Gonna Take It," and I climbed her tree. I went up higher than I had ever gone while that song was on, and it was at night. And just seeing, they lived directly across the street from a park, and just sitting up there in the tree with the moon out and the stars, and looking at the park and looking down at everything, and hearing that song. It was just like one of those memories that always sticks out to me. And that's, I always, whenever I hear the song "Jump" and "We're Not Gonna Take It," somewhere in there I have a flashback to my grandmother's house and out in front of her house on the porch and in the tree. It's like just a couple of those memories that just stick with you. So that's another main reason I wanted to bring up '84. That's why '84, the music just sticks in my brain. Those are two, probably, yeah, the biggest two songs for me. But on top of that, 1984 has Panama. Come on,
Mm-hmm.
amazing song. Top Jimmy's great song, Drop Dead Leg. Drop Dead Legs, pretty smile. I love it, man. Hot for Teacher, fantastic. I mean, the drums on that are amazing. Such a great song.
I
But
told you,
then
but if you
I'll wait.
honest truth is, I dabbled with acoustic guitar. Never really was serious about playing the guitar until I I saw the video for Half a Teacher, and I'm watching him walk on I'm watching him walk on the tables in the library playing the fucking
Yeah,
guitar, and I just
yeah.
turned around to my parents, and I am not even kidding you. I just said, "I gotta learn how to fucking do that." I didn't fucking tell my parents because I was young.
Yes.
I was 12 years old. I'm like, "I gotta learn how to do that. I have to." And it was that's what really set me on the path to playing guitar was Eddie Van Halen. When I first saw, I'm
Yeah,
like, how cool is that? I gotta know how to do that. I mean, and the video itself was great because there I am. You figure 84, I was 12 years old. So like all the kids in the
yeah,
video were probably around my age, and they were hanging out with the
yeah,
hot teacher, and they're and
yeah,
I'm like, I gotta learn how to do this. This is awesome.
yeah. Yeah, I get it. I remember seeing that same clip you're talking about with Eddie Van Halen walking across those decks and just thinking, how cool is that? Look at him. That's a badass right there, man. And then he gets to the end and the teacher's ripping her clothes off, and I mean, what a fantastic video. So yeah, great song, great video. But the next song, "I'll Wait," that's one of my top three favorite Van Halen songs ever written. I love that tune. That is so good.
Good song. Yeah,
I'll
good
just
song.
everything about it, the dynamics, the just everything about it, man. I just love that, and it's different for them too. It's like kind of like you could see that's one of the precursor songs to the Hagar era. You know, like when there's really getting involved with the heavy synths,
Hmm.
and it's a really popular tune with these hooks and harmonies, and yeah, it's just like you could tell it was like it had David Lee Roth sang on the next several albums that were Hagar albums. That's kind of like what it would sound like. It could have been one of those later records. I don't know. I just always loved "I'll Wait." Such a great song. That's one of my top three favorite Van Halen songs ever made. I'd say my other two favorite Van Halen songs, in case you're wondering, are "Little Guitars" and my number one is "Unchained." I mean, I just that I hear "Unchained" and I just crank that up, to 11 and break off the knob. It's yeah, you can't beat it. So,
That Brown
but
sound,
I'll
the
wait.
chunky Brown sound.
hmm So
I love it.
1984, Van Halen, very important record for me.
Nice. All right, my number five. Like it's throwing a curveball here. I've mentioned this band. I think I've mentioned this band before because this is the bordering on my punk rock days. But they started out as a real straightforward skate punk band, and then when they got the new singer on this album, they turned more like blues rock. So my number five is TSOL. Change Today.
Hmm.
So if you guys have never heard TSOL, this incarnation with Joe Wood as the singer is definitely my favorite, and it's great because he's been out of the band for years, and he came onto the East Coast like shit. Was it 6 years ago already? 2019, and I've turned my son Terrence into a big TSOL fan, and we went to see him. It was great. We hung out with him. It was just so much fun. But there's some great songs on here. If you guys anybody out there have ever heard of it, go check out Change Today. You got Just Like Me, Black Magic, Flowers by the Door, It's Gray. There's so many great friggin' songs on here. It's just like it's like punk meets blues meets like not metal because they really weren't metal. They did get a little bit heavier. I've mentioned before, most people don't know. I said they were pretty close with Guns N' Roses at the time. So if you've ever watched the Sweet Child of Mine video, the drummer Steven Adler's got a TSOL T-shirt on in the video. And I
Yeah.
remember watching the video, and I was like, "Oh, wait, he's got TSOL shirt on. Holy shit!" Yeah, great band. If anybody's ever heard them, you can just go on YouTube and these days and listen to anything you want for free. Go check it out. It's good stuff. So that's my number five. TSOL Change Today.
Awesome. All right. Well, my number four is one of my favorite bands ever on the planet, Man-O-War with Sign of the Hammer, one of two records they released in 1984. Back in the days when bands did that, put out two albums a year. Now
That's
it's
what
like
Bliss used to do.
5 years between the records.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, Sign of the Hammer, what could I say? I mean, the first song, All Men Play on 10, I was totally like trying to be their MTV song, even though they're saying screw MTV, kind of, at the same time. It was totally the sing along, type of song that was very commercial. But then right after that, you go into Animals, which is just down your throat, Thor, the Powerhead, amazing song. And then Mountains, one of my favorite Man-O-War songs they ever wrote, song Mountains. kind of like more ballady, slower. But I mean, there's the lyrical content, just comparing the might of a man to the might of a mountain, and amazing song. If you've never heard the song "Mountains" from Manowar, do yourself a favor, look it up. Amazing song. Um, and then you got just the title track, "Sign of the Hammer." Onward, pounding into glory, ride. Sign of the Hammer, be my guide. If you're a Manowar fan, you know the Sign of the Hammer. So yeah, just an amazing record. The Oath, Thunderpick, Guyana, then the Cult of the Damned. Talking about all the guys that drink the Kool-Aid and everything. Great song, great, amazing record. Love that album. I mean, Joey DeMaio. I mean, I love his bass playing. Very unique. He uses a pick. I use a pick, but I play unconventionally. He plays unconventionally. He shreds. I mean, great, great, great bass player. One of my favorite bass players. Very underrated, in my opinion.
Very cool. Awesome. All right. What do we got for my number four? Well, we already talked about number four, but my number four released on May 10th of 84. Like I said, this album was gigantic in 84. Twisted Sister, Stay Hungry. Played the hell out of this album, top to bottom. I remember, I think I told a story on one of the podcasts, how back, same thing, like you mentioned earlier. I think about a year before that, maybe a year or two before that, we got our first VCR. So I used to record all the MTV concerts on Saturday nights, and I remember, and I was always trying to fit whatever I could on a videotape. So I used the EP speed so slow as dick, just so I could fit as much shit as I could on
Of
there.
course.
And of course, it's not like I was a video editor, so I do remember right at the end of Friday the 13th Part 2, when they're showing Mrs. Voorhees' head, like the creepy music's playing and her head's there, and all of a sudden, boom, it's like static, and it cuts right to the beginning of the Stay Hungry concert from MTV. I'll never forget that.
That's awesome.
And to this day, when I watch that, to this day, I always see Mrs. Voorhees' head, and I'm just waiting for Dee Snider to be up against the fence,
Yeah.
because I recorded the whole concert. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I love
And
those memories of those old VHS tapes, but we recorded certain things on and made certain noises because something got recorded over. And yeah.
Yep. I'll never forget that. It used to go right from there to that concert. It was awesome.
We had an old tape where we had Commando recorded on there, and we recorded that over something else. So I don't know what it was in the tape, but when he's in the mall and he's fighting all those security guards, when he punches the one guy, it would make a noise and I always go, eggs. It sounded like he said eggs right after he punched him. I don't know, it was the sound bleeding through from the whatever was recorded before, but to this day I can't watch Commando and not eggs, just say it out loud myself, because it's not there.
Oh God, the days of VHS. You young kids will never understand.
Right, because it'll never happen again. You had to be there.
Recording stuff. People recording like on tape. Seriously, it's like unfathomable. But yeah, so that's my number four. Twisted Sister, Stay Hungry. All right, number three. What do you got for you? Number three.
Number three, we're going with the other Manowar record of '84, "Hail to England." Oh, I love this record. Fantastic album. First song, "Blood of My Enemies." Amazing song. I've seen them open with that. Great song to open an album with and a concert with. "Each Dawn I Die." Oh, it's almost like he's telling those old Manowar records. He told like stories, epic stories of like warriors and barbarians, and you'd read the lyrics and sing along, and you'd think you're there. It's like you're in Conan the Barbarian. Just I don't know, just great stuff. "Each Dawn I Die." Amazing lyrics in that song. "Kill with Power." Fantastic fast song. Real fast track. Death metal, death thrash, I don't know what you'd call them, band Arch Enemy. They covered the song "Kill with Power" as like with death metal vocals and stuff. And that's how heavy that song is. And then the title track, "Hail to England." That's one of the three songs that I always wished I could hear Manowar play live that I never got to see them play live. And over in Europe, they're doing right now. They're touring again. They're doing a big production tour, and they're playing the entire "Hail to England" album from front to back. It's like, oh man, rip my heart out right now. Always wanted to hear the song "Hail to England" live. So
I hate when those
amazing.
big
And then
shows are nowhere near you and you can't go to them. It pisses you off.
Yeah, yeah. At least I did get to hear though. I seen them once and they played the song Bridge of Death, which is the final song on this record. Epic, epic, great song. Amazing vocals, amazing everything on it. I did get to hear that live once and that was awesome. So yeah, my number 3 is Man of War. Hail, hail to England.
Awesome. Good stuff. All right, number 3 for me. Number 3, great album. Love this band, and it's super special to me for another reason, and I'll say that. So my number 3 released on January 4th of '84, Judas Priest, Defenders of the Faith. This is
Mm,
special to me because this was the first concert I ever went to. Was Judas Priest, Defenders of the Faith tour. So it's even more special because, yeah, first time I went to a concert, it was Judas Priest, who and Great White opened up for him. It was at Madison Square Garden, and I think I told you the story. Guy, just go look it up, where everybody started ripping the cushions out of the seats and throwing them on stage
hmm
when he came out with the motorcycle on the stage and everything, and they got banned from ever playing the Garden. They've never played the Garden since.
mm.
So I mean, but
Awesome.
yeah, you know, got Love Bites in there. Some heads are gonna roll. I mean, this is like prime era Judas Priest. I mean, coming right off the heels of Screamer for Vengeance, which was their big breakout, made them a
Yes.
household name. Um,
hmm
so I can't say enough about this album. I can't say enough about the band Judas Priest because just absolutely love Priest. Still to this day, they're still kicking it. They still sound great. Seen them several times beyond seeing them for the first time on this tour. So yeah, that's my number. What was it? Number 3, Defense of the Faith.
Nice. They definitely still been killing it because they're every time they put a record out, it's in my
It's
top
great.
10, if not my top 5 of the year. You know, like their newest record. It's amazing. It's in my like top 3 records of the year. You know, it's so good.
Yeah,
Invincible
good
Shield.
stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. What do you got
All
for?
right.
All right,
Well,
number 2.
number 2. My number 2 is Iron Maiden Power Slave. My favorite
Nice.
Iron Maiden. Love that album. Like you already summed it up. You named all the songs before, but I gotta say my favorite Iron Maiden song ever made. Just it's my favorite song ever is "Flash of the Blade." I love that song. Amazing tune. It's probably because it's the first Iron Maiden song I ever heard. Like I was already a fan of their artwork before I heard the band. I would see all the posters with Eddie on it and stuff. I was like, oh man, those are so cool. But I don't know the band Iron Maiden. That's back in the days where they didn't play that stuff on the radio and there was no
No,
internet. So you either had to spend your hard earned money to just experiment and go buy the record and hope it's good. Or, you know what I mean? It's like really, or rely on a friend to let you borrow theirs or let you hear it at their house. Otherwise, yeah, you just roll the dice and buy an album based on its cover art. And Iron Maiden was like one of those bands that I'm like, I got to do it. I love the artwork so much. The first one I ever bought was Somewhere in Time, which blew my mind. I thought, I remember my dad always telling me, don't listen to Iron Maiden. They're devil music. You're going to go to hell if you
oh
listen to Iron
God,
Maiden. And I remember buying the tape Somewhere in Time and listening to it. And it right the front, right the lyrics, right the opening song are, you know, make me an offer you can't refuse. You've only got your soul to lose. I'm like, oh, he was right.
yeah, that was right.
Yeah. But then, it was just too awesome to like deny. I couldn't stop listening to it. So the very next tape I bought was Iron Maiden Power Slave, But it was my big surprise because the first Iron Maiden song I ever heard was Flash of the Blade because it's in the movie Creepers or Phenomena, as it was originally released in Europe um, with Donald Pleasance and her name's escaping me right now from Labyrinth. Um, the people out there are going to kill me because everyone I know is big Labyrinth fans. Um,
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank too. I have to
anyhow,
look it up.
anywho, I don't know if you're familiar with the movie Phenomena at all. Great movie about a girl who has it's like orphans. These girls are like orphans kind of, and they're in this home, and she has powers where she kind of could talk to bugs and stuff and make them do what she wants. And there's also a serial killer going around at the same time. And Donald Pleasance is like this scientist guy. He like studies the bugs, and he has a monkey pet who's like it's a crazy movie, but it's so good. And in the movie, it has a heavy metal soundtrack. and they played the song Power, Flash of the Blade in there. Not once, but twice. They play almost the full song twice in that movie. I just those images always stuck with me of her falling into a pit just full of maggots and bugs and dead corpses, and her screaming while it's, die as you live in a flash of the blade. It's like, whoa, this is awesome. So yeah, great song. I mean, that's my memory of that was hearing that in that movie, and great album. The Duelist, Back in the Village, and then Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. When I was in high school, my English teacher brought that. That was our thing we were studying was Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, and she brought the Iron Maiden song to class. Old lady too. I give her credit. She was old back then with gray hair and old woman, and she brought Iron Maiden, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. And I was like, when I saw it, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, I was already a huge fan, and it's like anyone else in class had no clue what it was. They were like, what are you playing? What's this music, this heavy metal music? I was on cloud nine. I get to listen to Iron Maiden in English class. So yeah, it was great, like studying that along with the song, like a soundtrack to it. Just another thing that's always going to stick out in my mind whenever I listen to that record. I have, a lot of good memories of Power Slave, and that I did get to see him perform most of it when they did that Somewhere Back in Time tour, and they did a lot of songs from Somewhere in Time
One
and
time. Hmm.
Power Slave. Yeah, great tour, great set list. So yeah, my number two record of 1984 is Iron Maiden, Power Slave.
Very cool. My number two, we already mentioned before, released on the 9th of January of 84. I mean, we know this album was gigantic. I love this album. And then it was obviously the swan song for David Lee Roth until he reappeared many years later, brought us Van Hagar after that. But love me some 1984. I mean, this album was huge with me, my brother. We were big Van Halen fans. We love this album. Just I profess my love for Eddie Van Halen. I remember sitting here. To this day, I'll sit there and play Panama. Hot for Teacher. I mentioned it earlier in this episode. That's what I saw. I saw that and I said that. I mean, people are like, oh, you learn to play an instrument because you want to get laid or whatever. Well, that's always in the back of my mind. I'm like, what? But I saw that and I said, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. And big inspiration. I mean, and you read it before. Every song on this album: Top Jimmy, Drop Dead Legs, Jump, Panama, Hot for Teacher. I mean, it's just there's nothing to trim on this album. There's no
Mm-hmm.
fat. It's just every
Right.
song is just you put this album on and you put the whole album on. There's no skippers.
Definitely,
And
definitely.
and I've said this before. And every time I talk about this, it's 2025. As Bill and I are recording this, it's actually my birthday. And I'm 53 years old, and Eddie Van Halen's dead. And I've never in a million years would ever
Yeah,
think that. Never. You always think he'd always be here. And actually, he would have turned 70. His birthday just passed. He would have been 70 years old.
yeah. I know that was when he died. That was it was like one of those celebrity deaths that it hit me hard. Like
Hurt.
I didn't go. I stayed up drinking and listening to Van Halen and watching live concerts all night. I didn't even go to work the next day. My boss wasn't mad. He knew. He knew.
Yeah.
You took off because of Van Halen. I go, yeah. All right, just be there tomorrow.
Yeah. That really hurt. That one hurt. Oof.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
crazy.
Yeah, we lost a
But
legend
that
there.
number two, Van Halen 84. What do you got? What's your, and here we are. We've reached the top of the mountain. What's your number one?
Reach the summit. Number one. My number one album of 1984, Metallica, Ride the Lightning. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today if it wasn't for that album. I mean, the first song I ever learned how to play on guitar was Skid Row 18 in Life. But the song that first got me interested in guitar was Metallica 1. When I heard that song, and a friend of mine showed me, hey, this is how you play the beginning of that song. Do 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 do. And it like clicked, like, oh wow, I can learn how to do that. And I did. I just kept pursuing it. That led me to learn, 18 in Life, and then that just led me back into more Metallica. Metallica was like what I was learning. I was learning everything I could from them, and just Ride the Lightning. When I picked that album up, it was like, oh my God, like I want to learn all these songs. Like this is I got to learn Fight Fire with Fire. like what a challenge, you know what I mean? And not even that, I was able to learn like, you know, for Who the Bell Tolls, you know, and I Fade to Black, and just whenever I think of that album, I think of learning how to play guitar and trying to learn. That was like my goal, was trying to learn those songs, and just not a bad song on there. Creeping Death, you know, Escape. A lot of people don't like Escape. I love Escape. Out for my own, out to be
Great song. Yeah.
free. Hetfield hates that song because he doesn't like singing that. He thinks that harmony singing right there is like lame. Like, dude, I love it. Ever since I heard that song, I love that. Then you got the brutality of Trapped Under Ice. Great song, you know, so heavy. Every time we get like a night like this, if we would have actually got hit with a big ice storm like we were supposed to, that'd be the song I'd be cranking. Would be Trapped Under Ice. You know, it's just my go-to song this time of year. So yeah, I mean, amazing record. Ride the Lightning, the title track. Come on. I mean, they play that still to this day live, and it's amazing every time. Great song. So, yeah, one of my favorite albums ever made. Metallica, Ride the Lightning.
Yeah, I love it. I could argue there. Nothing. There's nothing to critique on the album. It's like I said. There's most of the albums I put in my top 10 are there's what I call no skippers, because you just put that album on, you can just listen to it start to finish, and there's nothing to skip. You know,
Right.
most albums you might say, there's a one song. You might not hate the song, but you'll skip it. You're like, I don't feel like listening to it, and you'll skip it.
Yeah.
Not
I mean, the only
that
song
album.
you might skip on this one would be Call of Cthulhu, but you wouldn't skip it because it's last. So you just let the album
You
play
just let
out.
it
You know
play
what I
out.
mean? It's great. It's a great
Yeah,
song, you know, but
that's a
it's
good
like
song.
if you were going
Yeah.
to skip one, that'd be the one you'd skip, and you're not going to skip it because it's last. So you just let it play anyway, you know?
Yeah. And here I am again, my number one. His sophomore effort, one of my guitar gods. I mentioned it in the last video, released on 15th of May, 84. Steve Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble. Couldn't stand the weather.
Mm. Wow.
Played the shit. That's why it's like everybody just always laughs. They're like, I didn't realize what a big Steve Ray Vaughan fan you are, because I always see like everything's rock and metal. And I go, I always like the blues, but Steve Ray Vaughan, I mean, to this day, well, actually, we are supposed to start playing Couldn't Stand the Weather again. I used to play it in my old band. We used to do Couldn't Stand the Weather. We used to do Cold Shot. I've been telling these guys, I'm like, we gotta do Couldn't Stand the Weather, because it's just such a fucking fun song and a great video. Have you ever seen the video for Cold Shot from Steve Ray Vaughan? It's hysterical. It's it's just him singing the song, and he's got like this big fat woman who's supposed to be his girlfriend or his wife in it, and she's pissed off at him because all he wants to do is play the guitar. He wants nothing to do with her. So like, there's a scene. Go look it up. It's hysterical. There's a scene where he's just playing the guitar, and she's like, "You, Stevie Ray Vaughan, put that guitar down and pay attention to me." She keeps grabbing this guitar, and he just reaches behind the couch, grabs the other one, just keeps playing. He just grabs another fucking guitar, just keeps playing. It's awesome. And she just like, and she'll just like hit him and like throw him out a window, and then you'll see him hit, like, it's like the fake dummy thing hitting the ground, and then
Yeah.
the ambulance takes him away. And then towards the end, it's like he's dying, and she comes and plugs the guitar into his arm and revives him. It's such a cheesy, funny video to see Steve Ray Vaughan, and it's hysterical. Yeah, go look it up. It's funny.
That's great. That was
Yeah.
the era of great videos like that.
Oh.
You know, they were all comical, and yeah, that was great.
Yeah, so I mean, you got Couldn't Stand the Weather on there, Cold Shot, Scuttle Button, Honeybee, and which probably, it's not even blasphemy to say, because a lot of people would agree with me. The better version of Voodoo Child from Steve Ray Vaughan on there. I mean, it's like Jimi Hendrix, if he was alive, would have been in awe of what Steve Ray Vaughan did with that fucking song. He just took it to another level. That, and eventually, when we get to probably the 90s, when he released The Sky Is Crying, and he did his version of Little Wing, and he actually won the Grammy for that, as a matter of fact, because it was just an amazing version of Little Wing. But I could talk Steve Ray Vaughan all day long, like I could talk Tiss. So that's my number one. I mentioned it before, when Texas Flood was my number one of 83. I said, you're going to see a lot of Steve Ray Vaughan. And unfortunately, we don't make it out of the 90s. We don't make it out of the 80s with him, because he died in 1990. So, and talking about Eddie Van Halen, that was the other one that just devastated me, when Steve Ray Vaughan, when he was killed in that helicopter crash. Absolutely devastated me. And if my roommates from college had been watching this video, they'll tell you about the night when he died, and we were playing the music, and we were up till 5 o'clock in the morning, and we were shit faced. I remember like it was yesterday. I can't believe it's Shit. 1990 was what 35 years ago?
Isn't that wild?
Fucking crazy. I believe he was 36. So it's almost his entire lifetime that he's already been gone. That's fucking
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah.
But that's my number one. That is our top 10 albums of 1984, folks. Do us a favor, throw yours in the comments below. Let us know your top 10. And like I said, this is our favorite 10. It's not the be all say all. So, we'll get the typical, you forgot this. No, we didn't forget anything. This is our top 10. This is our favorite 10. Throw them in the comments below. Make sure you hit that like button. Helps people find this channel. I'll be back with 85. I get some time. I'm doing a thing where I'm doing my favorite album covers. So everybody go check that out. They just released that today. That's a lot of fun. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. You know what the fuck you're waiting for? Hit it. Don't cost nothing. Be sure to go check out the Everscathed. Bill's got a YouTube channel. That's his band, the Everscathed. Go check them out. Good stuff going on over there. And that's it. You got anything else going on, or with the Everscathed? You guys doing anything, or?
Rehearsing. We're rehearsing. Got some new songs to work on. Nothing major. Right at the moment. Just getting. It's the beginning of the year, so starting to slowly get back into things. We're rehearsing tomorrow night, so I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be a blast. Can't wait to scream my head off.
Go growling, screaming, everybody.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's therapy.
Good stuff. Yeah, so everybody go check it out. The links to I'll have them in the chat here. And until the next one, we'll talk to you soon. Later.